All right, good morning, class. So I'm sure everybody here has their favorite type of music that they like to listen to, right? I mean, be it hip hop, rap, rock, or maybe even country, right? But today I want to introduce you guys to a genre called Japanese city pop, or J-pop for short, and specifically the type that came out during the 70s and 80s. And if you're a big hip hop fan, or if you know anything about the internet within the past 10 years, you would be surprised to see how much of this can actually be traced back to this one genre. Essentially, Japanese city pop has left a huge impact on modern media by creating record labels, influencing popular artists, and by spawning subcultures or genres of music. And now I want to start off by talking about Sony Music. And as you can probably guess from the name, Sony Music actually belongs to a much bigger company called the Sony Corporation. Now, the Sony Corporation actually owns a lot of brands that we know of today. For example, some of these include PlayStation, Sony Pictures, which actually owns the right to any and every Spider-Man film, and of course, Sony Music. Now, Sony was actually founded by Masaru Ibuka and Okio Morita back in 1946. It was originally known as Tokyo Tsushin Kogyo, but it later changed its name to Sony in 1958. And with that name change came the change to the first transistor radio, which they had released back in 1955. Now known as the Sony TR-730, this device is what essentially cracked open the American markets for Sony. In 1968, they had already sold over 5 million units. And with the arrival of all this new media and media consumption, so came with it all the new business opportunities that were available for Sony inside of the music industry. So in 1987, Sony bought out CBS Records, which was an already well-established American music company that was around at the time. And this purchase later created the music giant that we know today. And this label has signed artists like Tyler the Creator, Katy Perry, and even One Direction. And so I'm sure you guys know about Igor by Tyler the Creator. I mean, it won 2019's Best Rap Album of the Year, and but what you may not know about it is that track number 10 on the album, titled Gone, Gone, and Thank You, is actually a complete cover of Tatsuro Yamashita's song called Fragile, which was released back in 1988. And we find another example of an artist that's been influenced by this music in Playboi Carti. He has a song called They Trying to Be Cray, and in the background melody of the song, he actually has taken a sample or a snippet of Mai Yamanis Dasogare, which was released back in 1980. So you can see that even artists that are around today are still influenced by this music that was released back in the 80s. And now this brings us over to my third point, and it is the creation of the new subgenre called Vaporwave. Now, Vaporwave is more of an abstract concept due to it being really just a conjunction or an amalgamation of a bunch of different photos that have been shopped or created with this certain aesthetic. And that aesthetic being low fidelity, low quality, and retro look. One of the more popular songs that came out of this Vaporwave craze was Macintosh Plus by a Floral Shop. And even though Vaporwave is now more or less a dead genre, you still find that there was a lot of people that wanted more of this type of music. And so with it came the resurgence of J-pop. And some of the more popular examples of J-pop songs are Plastic Love by Maria Takeuchi, which was released in 1984, Right on Time by Tatsuro Yamashita in 1980, and Stay With Me by Miki Matsubara, which was released in 1980 as well. And with the resurgence of all this J-pop on YouTube, it essentially acted as a catalyst for the creation of a new genre of music called lo-fi hip-hop. And now, lo-fi hip-hop at times may not sound like the J-pop that it's referencing, but it still uses the same samples and snippets from the original J-pop songs in order to create lo-fi hip-hop songs. Lo-fi hip-hop by itself has a more jazzier feel to it, but it's still on the softer side of things. And here are just some examples of some popular 24-hour streams, which were named like Lo-Fi Hip Hop Radio, beats to chill and relax or to do homework to. Interesting fact, one of these was actually taken down And since it streams 24/7 and it had been up there for a while, it is now considered the longest video on YouTube. And so it's pretty apparent that J-pop has played a big impact on the media that we know of today, right? I mean, it's boosted Sony, it's influenced a bunch of popular artists that we know of today, and it's created subgenres or subcultures on the internet. And even though what we know of J-pop is through the media that it's influenced on our end, it's also important to realize that J-pop at one point in time was a very popular type of music in Japan. If anything, this could be taken as a little bit of cultural enrichment, you know? And it's important to realize that this music probably at one point in time had the same amount of emotional impact as the music that we listen to has on us today. And so, even though this music is old, even though it's in a language that, I'm gonna be honest, I really don't even understand either, it's important to realize that without this music, some of the things that we know and love today wouldn't exist. Thank you.